Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It's Thursday morning, it's absolutely horrible. The Great British Gloom is back. It's very slippery underfoot because it's rained all night. So if I fall, well, there's that. But I'm heading for those trees there, which will give me a little bit of protection for my microphone as well. So in this video, I want to discuss a really unpopular topic. And it's not one that I believe personally, but it's one that we have to entertain. And every so often I get a nagging doubt. And I think, look, what if everyone that we've ever suspected here on social media is innocent? What if the TBI are right? You know, because it seems to be their major theory that Summer just wandered away, in the words of Leslie Earhart.
A very real possibility that she wandered off and became lost in the mountainous and rough terrain surrounding her home.
It could be that after months and months and months of extensive
reams and reams of data, we've collected statements, we've chased down every credible lead that has been given to us, and we are still not much further along than when we started. Surveillance videos, GPS locations, cell phone tracking, cell phone data, electronic data, anything that we could think of to get our hands on.
There's no clear evidence that any one person or group of people were involved, because they weren't. And what Detective John Pruitt said ultimately is the truth. And I think we don't want to go there. Certainly I don't want to go there, because you think this little girl has been gone for so long, and surely someone should pay. There should be justice for Summer Wells. Whoever that person or persons might be, they need to be caught, arrested, charged, and sent down for taking away the life of a beautiful, sweet little then 5-year-old. But I have this nagging doubt always at the back of my mind when I talk about any one particular person. I think, what if they're innocent? And I do voice that. I do say this is theory. There's other ways to look at this. I always do that. Maybe it makes me sound too speculative, but that's because I am. That's what we're all doing, isn't it? What we've got is hearsay. What we've got is theory. Yes, we can base that on the very few facts we've got. But as I keep saying, what few facts do we actually have? The rest is theory, hearsay, opinion. And the thing that's got me thinking about this is looking back on some of my old videos, and check them out, right? If you're new to my channel or you're new to the case, I've got like over 300 Summer Wells videos. I've been watching this case since the 16th of June. I was watching it, I was watching all the press conferences. And when it was obvious that this little girl was going to be gone, I started really digging into it and making videos. And that's where my Summer Wells playlist has come from. That's where I've been. People who watch my channel expect Summer Wells videos, because I've covered so many different possibilities. But they're all just possibilities. They're all just theories. Yeah, there are times when I've held on to a theory for a considerable time. My number one theory for a long time was that Summer was sold. I talked about that a lot over the last, August, September. Now, there's some people that I've never thought were guilty in my mind, right? I've never thought H. I've never thought Ali. Never thought Jose. I've never thought David Dotson or Robin Lane or anyone else from the church. I've made videos about H, but as a witness. I've made videos about inconsistencies that have come to light, but as a witness. And until very recently, I was doing that for Jodie Sue, the then neighbour of the Wells. But the more she talked, the more I thought there's problems here. And then when it came to light about her son being chased off the Wells property on 2 occasions in August, and I truly believe it was him, and her reaction to it, I thought, hold on a minute. This is very recent. This is in the last couple of weeks. I turned the tables on my opinion of Jodie Sue. Bear in mind, my opinion of Jodie Sue. And said, let's look at her. Let's look at her and her family. Let's look at her as a person of interest rather than as a witness. Some of the things she said sound really incriminating, in my opinion. The more she's talked, the more problematic it's become, the more inconsistencies you can find. But what if some of those inconsistencies are just her remembering things or having an opinion about things, and because was the neighbour at the time that someone disappeared, we think of that more as fact rather than her opinion? There's lots of reasons why she could sound like she's incriminating herself, and actually she isn't. It just sounds bad, and the more she's talked, the worse it's got. But if we think that for Jodie Sue, we've got to also think that for Don, Candice and Grandma, don't we? And the time when Don was out there living it large on different YouTube channels, a different channel every night at one point, he was popping up all over the place. The more he talked, the more suspicious he sounded. You know, look guys, if the parents had never come out and spoken, except for, you know, the occasional media appearance, I wouldn't have thought they were guilty. I'd have raised my eyebrows at some of the things they said, but I wouldn't have concluded they were guilty. I wouldn't have gone into theories that Don has got some, you know, dodgy associates, because I wouldn't have known about it. It's Don that's told us all of those things. It's Don that's sounded like he's trying to get Candice into trouble, like by saying, I've got 7 alibis, she's got none. She's going down. My good buddy Starling, you know that? On Molly Golightly's channel. And quite rightly, people said, well, why do you need an alibi if you're innocent? Behaviour panel think Don has got nothing to do with someone's death or disappearance. But they said Candice is maybe holding something back. But we hadn't heard about it so much from Candice's own mouth, had we? Because Don's dominated everything up until the point of him going to jail. And then Candice came out talking. And what happened? The more Candice has talked, the more incriminating she sounds. You can catch her in lies. But what if that's because she genuinely has no idea what happened, and the only thing that she's lying about is how long Summer was missing, and that's it? Look guys, they were not great parents, were they? Those boys needed to be taken and given a better home life. The parents' addictions, problematic. Can they overcome those addictions? Yes, of course they can. But it would be a long, hard road. And are they prepared to go that long, hard road? I'm not sure they are. You know, when Chris McDonough went to the Wells house and we saw the conditions of that house, and we all thought, oh my God, you know, those kids were living there. We only know that because they let Chris in. We wouldn't have known that, would we? We wouldn't have gone down that road at all. The parents have made a rod for their own back because they've been so open. It's problematic, it is. It's very problematic. We know things that we can't unknow. We've seen things we can't unsee. I see all the things you do. It means that they've got problems. It means that they've got addiction issues, mental health issues. They've not looked after those kids as well as they could have done. But does it mean that they were responsible for the disappearance of Summer? No, it doesn't, not necessarily. Because when Don was out talking, it sounded like, I'm just cleaning you, you're wet, there we go. It sounded like he was the guilty one. When Candice came out talking, it sounds like she was the guilty one. the more Jodie Sue's talked, it sounds like she's the guilty one. What if they're all innocent? When David Dotson came out and talked to Unmasked in the very early days, people said, he's shifty, he's shady. Jose bucked the trend a little. Sadly, Jose passed away. I'm sure you've heard about it. I made a quick live on it last night. Please respect Jose's family at this difficult time. And rest in peace to Jose Roman. But until he came out and spoke, we were all wondering. I never thought he was guilty, because he went, it's there in writing. He was there in October 2020. No evidence other than Dudley that Jose was ever there after. Do we believe Dudley? No, I don't personally. Never thought Jose was involved. When he came out and spoke, we thought, oh, you know, he said some really nice things, and it's really pleasing what he said about Summer, and he made Summer seem like a little enchanting little girl that he genuinely loved, and I truly believe that he did genuinely love Summer. But there were some inconsistencies, some things that couldn't possibly be true about Jose, what he said. But I don't think it incriminated it any more than the unrealistic theories that people were talking about. Don and Candice have created rods for their own backs. Jodie Sue has created a rod for her own back by consistently talking and talking and talking and talking. So I hear you say, well, where is Summer? Why has Summer been missing nearly a year? Crackin Cases did a great live 2 nights ago. I'll leave a link to it in the description box. I made a brief video about what the experience Scott E Skullz had with someone driving a maroon Toyota Tacoma yesterday. Check it out. You're probably not getting notified for videos if you've got notifications on, and get notifications on if you haven't, you know, so you won't get notified. So if you put more than one video out a day, YouTube notifications just go whack. I can't even get there now. Look at that. It's so high. That was just flat, wasn't it? Do you remember? When it was raining and cold in the winter, I used this little thicket of trees here for some protection. I can't get anywhere near it now. Now imagine that's a microcosm of the terrain in East Tennessee. What if that just demonstrates how quickly an environment can become impassable? That was flat. There was nothing there, just fallen branches and things, and some kind of wheat straw that's never been picked up. Can't get anywhere close to it now. Look at that. We'll walk along the edge. We'll show you that this just goes on and on and on. Nettles and things that are just impassable. And in microcosm, this little thicket shows us just how quickly terrain can change. And in the miles and miles and miles of dense terrain, that as well as being thick with foliage, impassable because of the foliage, it's also treacherous because it's mountainous. So what if Detective John Pruitt was right when he said
she was like 3 foot, 40 pounds? It would be a lot easier for her to get through some of the foliage. She's lower to the ground, smaller body.
A 5-year-old can get into places where an adult can't, because they're more flexible, the lower to the ground. And what if what they discussed on Crackin Cases 2 nights ago turns out to be the truth? That she wandered just a little bit too far. She got turned around. She didn't know what direction to go in. And it's a case exactly like that of Dennis Martin, who got lost playing a trick on his dad. Just went round a corner and never came back. This was in 1969. Extensive searches. Yeah, they made mistakes. They didn't have all the technology that we've got today. But we've trusted that technology to have been able to find Summer. But what if she's been missed? What if she's out there? What if she's close and she's been missed? And that's as simple as it is. That no one abducted her, not Jodie Sue or Andy Jr. or Don Sherfy Jr. or anybody else. What if nobody abducted her? What if she just got turned around and they haven't come across her? What if they keep going back to that area, not because Jodie Sue's family lives there or Andy's family lives there or the Sherfys have frequented there? And Summer's footprints are very much like what happened in Dennis's case. And I'll play you a clip from Crime Stories Sunday, my series that I was doing over the winter. And I'm going to come back to you guys if you're missing Crime Stories Sunday. Episode 12 was on Dennis Martin. I'll play you a clip from what I said back then. They did an experiment. A 48-inch tall boy piece of furniture can easily elude detection in rugged mountain terrain, especially in the thickness of that foliage as it was at the time in June. You know, some of that foliage was at its height. Now, Dwight McCarter said that that's the most likely explanation. You know, it's terrible to think because he was one of the searchers, but still, you know, you've got to face facts. The most likely explanation is that Dennis got injured in some way, but he was literally just around the corner. He'd literally just left. How could a little boy disappear so quickly without them knowing what ravine was there close by? How far can a little kid go in a couple of minutes? Even if he's excited, even if he's wandered off, he's become disoriented. How far can a little kid go that quickly? But there have been criticisms of the search that I think have been learning points for searches in area where terrain is really rough. Too many cooks really can spoil the broth. So it could have been very easy for trails to have been forgotten about. It could have been easy for trails to have been overdone and some missed, and vital pieces of evidence not logged because of that. They were overlapping and they were probably obliterating clues. Now, bear in mind that there'd been heavy rain as well, so it was muddy. McCarter said, you know, there was just so many footprints. It was just a mass confusion. And this is scary, that several days into the search, 2 men from Townsend who were volunteering noticed a shoe print near West Prong of the Pigeon River. It was the size of a child's Oxford-type shoe. Dennis was wearing Oxford-type shoes. These were the tracks of a child. These were the footprints of a child. But they were dismissed because some of the Boy Scouts who were helping weren't much older than Dennis, who were wearing Oxford-type shoes. So they just put it down to the fact the Boy Scouts had been through. It later came to light that these footprints were from a child who was missing one shoe. So there was footprints from a shoed foot, and then footprints from a bare foot of child's size, approximately the size of Dennis's. These footprints were walking along the banks of a stream, and it suggested that they belonged to Dennis. A missing shoe and a missing sock were found 3 days later. And we know that children can wander further than we think. And what if this was really is Summer's downfall, as Don said, and they didn't want to think about the possibility that she just got lost?
I know she didn't walk away from this property by herself or off this yard by her swing. I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here. Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay, and I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes I came back, and I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone. I don't go on walks around here or runs because I'm scared of the bears and snakes and even the coyotes that are around here. Well, whoever has my daughter, I pray and hope that they have not harmed her and they bring her back to us safe and sound.
You realize Summer is somewhere that she's probably doesn't want to be, probably locked up or being, hurt in some way. And we're there on that beautiful beach, and our daughter is who knows where.
Don's mind went to abduction because of his shady past. He went to abduction straight away because of that, not because he had anything to do with it. And she just got lost. Little Elijah Kensinger from Knoxville was found after a few hours. He was the lucky one. Summer wasn't. What if she just got turned around? It's believed that many children, when they get that scared, that lost, they don't shout for help. They just go and hide. They don't know what to do. They become frozen. It's a horrible thing to think about. It's heartbreaking to think about. But what if that was Summer? It's the theory that the TBI have been going with. The FBI card team has been involved because they know that terrain. They know a kid can just be eaten up by that terrain. And what if, despite all of the evidence that they've collected, what if it turns out that they're right? Their first thought was right, that she just got lost in the mountainous terrain. As I said at the beginning, it's not necessarily a theory that I believe, but it's a theory that we have to contemplate. We have to contemplate that no one is ever going to get arrested and charged and sent to prison for this because everyone is innocent. It's horrible, isn't it? Think about it. It doesn't sit well with you, does it? Because of all the things that we know. But all of the things we know are just hearsay, speculation, theory, and opinion. It makes me feel heartbroken. But what if it turns out that that is the truth? Again, it's not a theory that I necessarily believe, but it's a theory we all have to contemplate. So I'm going to leave it there for today. I've been Michelle. Hope you all see you in the next video. Goodbye from Miss Tillington and Miss Cassie Springer. Bye, guys.